Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. I hope you're doing well. I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you. I don't have time to answer every email. I don't have time to answer every comment, not even close. But I do appreciate every one of you that contributes to the community, the prepping community online. I don't take you for granted. I value your time and I hate to waste any of it. I will get back to boots on the ground. I love doing boots on the ground. It's just real raw intel. I have been busy working here like a madman. I've been helping some friends, helping people. So I can't get to everything, but I will be back on boots on the ground maybe tomorrow. I'm concentrating right now, just thinking about the EMP threat, trying to get people prepared for that, and working like a crazy man on projects. I'm working from sun up to way past sundown. But it's good. I feel I'm playing catch up, and that's probably because I didn't prioritize things, or I didn't work as hard. I should have been working 12-hour, 14-hour days a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I weren't. So I feel I'm playing catch up. I want to talk about slave tax versus the freedom tax. So you got two things. I'm getting ready, and you are too. Pay your taxes this year. You're going to send a check to the IRS, and that's really a slave tax, because what do they do with that money? They enslave me. 100% enslave me. They do nothing for me with that check I'm going to write. And it's going to be a big check. And I'm going to take my hard-earned money. If you're a self-employed person, you're going to send it to them. Now, if you're employed by a company, that you do it, all the time with your payroll taxes. It's a slave tax. Don't let anyone fool you. What do they do with that money? First of all, they give it away to everyone. They give it to people that come to this country legally. They give it to countries overseas. They waste the money. They use that money to finance my slavery through whatever it wants to be. The Patriot Act that they passed many, many years ago. Be it every agency that is out to get me, and they are out to get me. Their plans are to go after freedom-loving Americans. So, my slave tax. Are you willing to pay a freedom tax? The Lord has blessed me, and I have the ability to prepare for the future. And I am very grateful for that. But when the Lord has blessed you and you have a lot, you are going to be responsible for that. You can't say, well, I had a lot and I was selfish and I used it for me and my family and I didn't help anyone. I didn't help any causes. So if you're given a lot, you're going to have some requirements. What did you do with that? I want to talk about stockpiling, because to me that is a freedom tax. You need to stockpile. You have skills and you have stockpiling. Today it's all about stockpiling. Yeah, I love developing skills and I need to stress having skills better. But what's coming is a game of logistics. I can teach you how to sight an AR-15 in. I can teach you how to do this or this or this. What's coming will be a time when you might not be able to buy things. You might not be able to stockpile things for any reason. They might not be available. You might not have money. Everything we do and every threat that could happen to us is going to be on a stockpile. What have we put back? And it's just not me putting it back. It's what has the community put back? What has freedom-loving Americans put back to help us take care of a problem? Are you willing to give up some of your supplies? What causes are out there or movements that you would say, I would give up some supplies to help that cause? Be it Federal Reserve notes now, maybe a situation will develop where you have to give some of your supplies up. I think back to Valley Forge. You might just put yourself back in Valley Forge. You're not at Valley Forge, but you're close by, and people are saying, hey, the guys down at Valley Forge, they don't have shoes, man. They don't have blankets. And you're sitting on 10 blankets. You say, nah, those are for my family. Or they say, we need ammo. We need musket balls. And you got a whole pile of musket balls. And you say, you know what? What those boys are doing down there is worth something. Hey, here's 10 musket balls. Here's a little bit of powder. Are you willing to do that? You might give to someone and you don't even know them personally, but they're fighting a cause. First of all, are you willing to fight a cause? Or are you scared? You're like, no, I ain't put my neck out for nobody. I'm not giving them nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to just hide out here and let the problem exist. And then hopefully those people can solve it. And when they solve it, then I'll jump up and down. Oh, yeah, I'm with those people. Yeah, go. Or you got some skin in the game. The government hate preppers. They hate them. They hate us. Why? Because we want to have a self-reliance. We want to be able to take care of ourselves. I just want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. I would be a happy man. Leave me alone. I don't bother anyone. I don't harm anyone. And just like you just want to be left alone. But the government has no inkling to leave us alone. I think everything would be better if they just leave us alone. In the military, logistical training was important. I was an infantry dude, so I didn't have anything to do with the supply side at all. But you know what? I was a prepper in the military. So you know what? My every thought was, especially if you deploy or overseas, I didn't trust supply, that they were going to bring me what I needed when I needed it. So anytime that I could put something back, I put it back. It's very easy to get extras when you're on a fob or you're where there's a lot of supplies. They'll give them to you. So yes, I was getting stuff and putting in that Humvee, putting it somewhere where we could get to it, and it paid off. When we pushed into Iraq, day one, when they authorized us to go over the berm, we made a mad dash north, 101st did, to get into our battle area, our area. As we were going up there, there was times when we were going too fast. Logistics could not supply us enough. So what did we do? We made sure we had everything we could on our Humvees, on our trucks, so we could keep going. It paid off. There was a time when they couldn't get us MREs, or they gave us MREs and said, you're limited to 2 a day. 2 MREs a day, and you're in full combat, using a lot of energy, wanting some food. For me, it was okay. We had the MREs because we put them back. So this is the same thing. You have to stockpile. I'm stockpiling for many reasons. One of the reasons is my grandchildren. I want to have things for them. I don't want them to say, look back and say, man, Poppy, why didn't you put more ammo back for us to shoot? Why we only get 3 rounds to shoot today? I don't want them to say that, because when I was growing up, ammo was very relatively inexpensive. A lot of people went and burned through ammo. I mean, $79 for a case of AK ammo. So I want to be able for them to have a childhood I had, and that's going to be shooting. And now granted, they're going to be shooting 22 long rifles, but I don't want them not to have that enjoyable time growing up. Ammunition might be scarce, might be more expensive. Maybe they put requirements or outlaw it. I want them to have it for the fun side of it. Plus, I want them to have the tools necessary to defend themselves, to defend against tyrants. And that's why I stockpile ammunition for them. That's why I'm going to have them equipped. By then, maybe certain rifles will be legal. Maybe you can keep them, they're grandfathered in, and that's why I have their rifle already purchased. That's what they're going to get. So I'm looking long term. So stockpiling is for any struggle that we could get into. It could be a family emergency, having things put back, and I get so many emails about this. So many. I get them every day. They have a problem in their life, be it a family emergency, illness, people get cancer, people lose their job, or people have loved ones move into it. Hey, I get this all the time. My daughter and her 3 kids had to move in with me, or my family had to move in with me. But you know what? We're okay. We got enough to get us by because we've stockpiled. If you look at the problems with Ukraine right now and the war, what's the main problem they're saying? logistics. We need artillery rounds. We need this. We need this. We need this. And guess what? The United States is running low. We are panicking, trying to secure artillery shells for them because they're going through them at a high rate. Such a high rate that a big threat for us is if we go into a conflict with someone else, there's not going to be the logistical supply chain to support a conflict. There's not. Artillery rounds are only made at artillery plants. You just can't fire up the local Bob and Joe machine shop down the road to make artillery rounds. It's not going to happen. Sophisticated equipment, highly trained people that do the task. And they can't keep up with it. They're having problems getting the certain type of metal they use to make artillery shells. So stockpiling for us is going to be huge. I also stockpile for an economic collapse. I would rather have it. I try to think of everything I use now, will I have it to rebuild? In the sense of there's so many consumable items, drill bits, grinding wheels, cut-off wheels, and that's just nothing compared to what you're going to need. How about a natural disaster? Big earthquake just happened, Turkey, Syria, devastating. Do you have equipment that you could cut rebar to free someone? Do you have the ability to do that? All those cutting wheels, all that stuff comes from China. And if that gets cut off, we're not going to have even tools to rebuild. Another thing is a civil conflict inside the United States. We have two sides, left or right. If they go at it, if we have a civil conflict inside the United States, you're going to need huge amounts of stockpile. Huge. It's not going to be something we can just go get. Just-in-time delivery. The government loves this. Companies love it. It's going to be devastating for us because we have no manufacturing inside the United States, which is sad to say. There is none. Zero. We couldn't defend ourselves. If the China cuts us off, if other countries cut us off, and it's not going to be like, oh, we can fire our industries up. Some of these industries are going to take years and years and years to build the facilities to manufacture whatever you're trying to do. So that's why I'm a stockpiler. I think stockpiling is the biggest thing for a prepper. Some will say, no, Dave, it's skills. I can teach you skills. But if I need a certain piece of equipment or something I need, and I can't manufacture it, I'm out of luck. So I think stockpiling is huge. I want to say you need balance, though, in stockpiling. Don't stockpile something you're never going to use. I stockpile things I use every day. So if I use it today, I'll probably use it tomorrow. My kids will use it, and my grandkids will use it. But you got to have balance. I do not pay full price for most things. I won't pay full price. I look for the sales, and that's how I can stockpile. I look for auctions, especially hardware, nuts, screws, bolts, all that. I'm not going to go to the store and just buy stuff. I couldn't afford that. But what I do is I buy it at auctions. I buy it for pennies, literally on the dollar. 10 cents on the dollar, 20 cents. I don't really like to go up more than 25 cents on the dollar, but I will, especially if it's something I need or I use already. So, got to have balance. Do not pay full price. Also, you got to make sure you balance having available cash to take care of emergencies that kick up. I've had people say they're stocked for the end of the world, but they didn't have cash for that transmission that broke or that part that broke on some piece of equipment or the refrigerator broke. People send me saying, man, I made a mistake. I didn't have enough emergency cash. So you have to balance. But what we're going into now, I hope you have a stockpile. And that stockpile is going to be determined how much money you have and what you're prepping for. I'm never going to judge another person and I'll say, I'm just prepping for natural disaster. If that's what you're led to prepare for, then prepare for it. I'm not here to say you're a terrible prepper because you're not prepping for EMP or the end of the world. I'm not going to say that to you. I'm going to urge you to look at it again and evaluate your position and say, maybe this is a problem. But what we're seeing right now is a logistical problem. Just-in-time delivery is not going to work in a crisis. So, skills are great. I think stockpiling is where you need to be. And what causes would you support by giving them some of your supplies? Or are you in it just for yourself and say, nope, it's just me, my family, forget everyone else? Or is there a cause, or the cause of freedom, that you'd be willing to put up some Federal Reserve notes? Would you be putting up some of your stockpile? Because guess what? We all pay the slave tax, and they're using that money to enslave us. So we need to worry about that freedom tax and what we're putting back for that. Thanks for watching.